searching in the shadows. The morning came gray and drizzling, typical October weather for Sapporo. Junho had spent a restless night in his hotel room, alternating between rehearsing what he would say to his mother and questioning whether he should be making this journey at all. By 7 a.m., he was dressed and walking the streets of Susukino, even though most establishments wouldn't open for hours. The district looked different in daylight, less mysterious, more ordinary. Neon signs that had blazed with promise the night before now stood dark and slightly shabby. Junho found a small coffee shop that served both Western and Japanese breakfast, and settled in with a cup of bitter coffee and a plate of toast, watching the city wake up around him. His investigation had to be methodical. The private detective he'd hired in Tokyo had provided him with a list of businesses that might have connections to Takahashi Sumiko, shipping companies, real estate firms, construction contractors. All legitimate businesses. But the detective had warned him that if she was truly connected to Yakuza activities in her past, these would likely be fronts or covers for other operations. The first stop was Hokkaido Shipping, a mid-sized freight company located in the port district. The receptionist, a young woman with perfectly styled hair and a professional smile, greeted him politely, but her expression grew guarded when he mentioned he was looking for information about the company's ownership. "I'm sorry, but we don't discuss our corporate structure with unauthorized parties," she said, her smile never wavering. "If you have business inquiries, I can direct you to our sales department." Junho had expected this. He tried a different approach. "I'm actually looking for someone, a family member. I believe she may have connections to companies in Sapporo. Her name is Takahashi Sumiko." The receptionist's smile faltered for just a moment, so briefly that Junho almost missed it. But it was there, a flicker of recognition quickly suppressed. "I'm sorry, I don't recognize that name," she said, but her voice had changed, become more formal. "Is there anything else I can help you with?" Junho left his business card anyway, knowing it was futile, but hoping that curiosity might prompt someone to contact him. He spent the rest of the morning visiting similar establishments, a real estate company that managed several high-end properties, a construction firm that had built some of Sapporo's most prestigious buildings. Each time, he encountered the same polite stonewalling, the same quick flashes of recognition that were immediately denied. By afternoon, he was frustrated but not surprised. If his mother had spent 30 years building a business empire while staying in the shadows, she would have surrounded herself with people who knew how to keep secrets. His break came from an unexpected source. While having lunch at a small ramen shop near the port, he overheard two dock workers talking about their supervisor's upcoming retirement. "Yamada-san's been here longer than anyone," one of them said. "Remember how he used to tell stories about the old days? About the woman who owned half the shipping contracts, but never showed her face." "That was probably just Yakuza talk," the other replied. "You know how those stories get exaggerated?" "Maybe, but I always wondered about those monthly visits from the fancy car. Driver would come in, drop off envelopes for certain companies, never say a word to anyone. Been happening for years." Junho's pulse quickened. He paid for his ramen and approached the workers casually. "Excuse me, I couldn't help overhearing. I'm a journalist writing about Sapporo's business history. Would this Yamada-san be willing to speak with me?" The younger worker shrugged. "He'll talk to anyone who'll listen. He's at the Sakura Pachinko parlor most afternoons these days. Old guy with a scar on his left hand. Can't miss him." The Sakura Pachinko parlor was exactly what Junho expected: bright lights, constant noise, cigarette smoke, and the hypnotic sound of thousands of small metal balls cascading through machines. He found Yamada easily enough, a weathered man in his 70s playing at a machine near the back. "Yamada-san," Junho approached carefully. "I was wondering if I could buy you a drink and ask you about the old days at the port." The old man looked him up and down, suspiciously. "You're not from around here." "Korean?" "Yes, sir." I'm looking for information about someone, a businesswoman who might have had connections to shipping companies in the 70s and 80s. Yamada's expression grew more interested. He gestured to an empty seat beside him. What kind of information? Anything you can tell me about Takahashi Sumiko. The effect was immediate. Yamada's hands stilled on his pachinko machine, and he turned to study Junho more carefully. Now, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. What's your interest in the Ice Queen? Ice Queen. That's what we called her. Never saw her face, but everyone knew about her. Controlled more shipping contracts than any company in Hokkaido, but everything went through intermediaries. Smart woman, knew how to stay invisible while pulling all the strings. Yamada paused. You related to her or something. You've got something in your eyes. Reminds me of the stories I heard about her. Junho's heart was racing, but he kept his voice steady. I think she might be my mother. Yamada studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. That would explain a few things. Come on, let's get out of here. Too many ears in a place like this. They walked to a quiet bar nearby, one of those small establishments where the mama-sen knew every customer and strangers were noticed immediately. Yamada ordered sake for both of them and began to talk. Your mother, if that's who she is, was legendary in certain circles. Came up from nothing in the 50s, they say. Started with small shipping contracts, moved into real estate, construction, you name it. But she was smart about it. Never put her name on anything official, always worked through shell companies and intermediaries. Is she still active? Hard to say. The monthly visits stopped about 3 years ago. Word was she was stepping back, letting others handle the day-to-day operations. But a woman like that, she doesn't just disappear. She's probably still watching everything from somewhere. Yamada drained his sake cup and looked at Junho seriously. If you're really her son, and if you're really looking for her, there's something you should know. She didn't build all this staying clean. There were connections to people you don't want to cross, favors owed, and debts collected. She survived in a world that doesn't usually let women survive, let alone thrive. Do you know where I can find her? Not exactly, but I know someone who might. There's a restaurant in the hills outside the city, Kofuku-tei. High-end place, very private. Word is, it's owned by someone who has connections to various business interests in the city. If your mother is still in Sapporo, the owner would know about it.